Colombia, a nation of breathtaking landscapes and vibrant cultures, bears the scars of a protracted and multifaceted conflict. For decades, its territories have been contested spaces, marked by violence, displacement, and profound inequality. Indigenous and Afro-Colombian communities, custodians of ancestral lands and traditions, have borne the brunt of this struggle. This essay will delve into the intricate dynamics of territorial conflicts in Colombia, exploring the root causes, the resilience of marginalized communities, and the urgent need for just and sustainable solutions. The roots of the conflict are deeply intertwined with historical injustices, unequal land distribution, and the legacy of colonialism. These factors have created a breeding ground for poverty, marginalization, and social unrest, fueling the emergence of armed groups and perpetuating cycles of violence. The fight for control over land, resources, and political power lies at the heart of these conflicts, with devastating consequences for communities caught in the crossfire. Despite the immense challenges, a spirit of resistance thrives in the hearts of those most affected by the conflict. Indigenous and Afro-Colombian communities, drawing strength from their ancestral knowledge and deep connection to the land, are at the forefront of movements demanding recognition of their rights, protection of their territories, and an end to the violence that has plagued their lives for generations. Their struggles are not merely about survival, but about reclaiming their dignity, preserving their cultural heritage, and building a future where peace and justice prevail. This essay will examine the complex interplay of factors that have shaped Colombia's territorial dynamics, from the historical legacies of colonialism and inequality to the contemporary challenges posed by extractive industries, armed conflict, and the globalized economy. By understanding the root causes of these conflicts and amplifying the voices of those most affected, we can begin to envision and work towards a more just and sustainable future for Colombia and its people. At the heart of Colombia's intricate web of conflict lies a fundamental struggle for land. The historical legacy of colonialism, marked by the violent dispossession of indigenous peoples from their ancestral territories, continues to cast a long shadow on the nation's present. The concentration of land ownership in the hands of a privileged few, coupled with inadequate land reform policies, has created a system of profound inequality that fuels social unrest and perpetuates cycles of violence. For indigenous and Afro-Colombian communities, land is not merely a commodity to be bought, sold, or exploited. It is inextricably linked to their cultural identity, spiritual beliefs, and very way of life. Their ancestral territories are not just places of sustenance but sacred spaces that hold deep historical, cultural, and spiritual significance. The forced displacement from these lands represents not only a loss of livelihood but a profound severing of ties that bind them to their heritage and their ancestors. The struggle for land is further complicated by the presence of illegal armed groups, many of which have their roots in the country's long-running internal conflict. These groups often vie for control over land and resources, using violence and intimidation to displace communities, seize valuable territory, and profit from illicit activities such as drug trafficking and illegal mining. The presence of these armed actors creates a climate of fear and insecurity, making it dangerous for communities to remain on their lands and exercise their territorial rights. In this context of historical injustice, unequal land distribution, and the presence of armed groups, the struggle for land becomes a matter of survival, dignity, and cultural preservation for marginalized communities. Their resistance to displacement and their unwavering determination to protect their territories are a testament to the deep connection they have with their ancestral lands, and their unwavering commitment to building a more just and equitable future for themselves and generations to come. In the face of relentless challenges, indigenous and Afro-Colombian communities stand as resilient guardians of their ancestral territories and cultural heritage. Their resistance to displacement, exploitation, and the erosion of their traditional ways of life is a testament to their deep connection to the land and their unwavering commitment to self-determination. Drawing strength from their ancestral knowledge, collective memory, and deep spiritual beliefs, they have developed diverse and innovative strategies to defend their rights and protect their territories. One prominent form of resistance is the assertion of their cultural and territorial rights through legal and political channels. Indigenous and Afro-Colombian organizations have been at the forefront of movements demanding recognition of their collective land rights, participation in decision-making processes that affect their territories, and an end to the violence and discrimination they face. Their advocacy has led to the recognition of some of their rights in the Colombian Constitution and international law, though the implementation of these rights remains an ongoing struggle. Another key aspect of their resistance is the revitalization and defense of their traditional knowledge systems, languages, and cultural practices. By preserving their ancestral knowledge of sustainable agriculture, natural resource management, and conflict resolution, they are not only safeguarding their cultural heritage but also offering valuable alternatives to the dominant development paradigms that have often led to environmental degradation and social conflict. Their traditional knowledge systems, rooted in a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of all living things, provide valuable insights into living in harmony with nature. Moreover, indigenous and Afro-Colombian communities are increasingly using technology and media to amplify their voices, share their stories, and connect with allies around the world. Through community radio stations, online platforms, and social media, they are breaking the silence imposed by mainstream media and bringing international attention to the realities of their struggles. This digital resistance is proving to be a powerful tool for mobilizing support, advocating for their rights, and challenging the dominant narratives that often portray them as victims, rather than agents of change. Perspectives into decision-making processes. Section 5. The Shadow of Extractivism, Fueling Territorial Disputes. The specter of extractivism looms large over Colombia's territorial conflicts, exacerbating existing tensions and fueling new cycles of violence and displacement. Driven by global market demands and the pursuit of short-term profits, extractive industries such as mining, oil and gas exploration, and large-scale agribusiness have become major drivers of deforestation, land grabbing, and environmental degradation, with devastating consequences for local communities and ecosystems. The allure of vast mineral wealth, fertile lands, and untapped natural resources has attracted a wave of multinational corporations and domestic companies seeking to capitalize on Colombia's natural bounty. However, these extractive projects often come at a steep social and environmental cost. They frequently operate in or near the territories of indigenous and Afro-Colombian communities, displacing them from their ancestral lands, polluting their water sources, and disrupting their traditional livelihoods. The expansion of extractive industries is often accompanied by an increase in militarization and the presence of armed groups seeking to control access to resources and transportation routes. This militarization further exacerbates the climate of violence and insecurity, making it dangerous for communities to resist these projects or defend their territories. The presence of armed groups, whether they are state forces, paramilitaries, or guerrilla groups, often leads to human rights abuses, forced displacement, and the breakdown of social fabric in affected communities. The pursuit of extractivism as a development model has come under increasing scrutiny for its role in perpetuating cycles of poverty, inequality, and environmental destruction. Critics argue that it creates a dangerous dependency on volatile commodity prices, undermines local economies, and fails to deliver on its promises of widespread prosperity. Moreover, the environmental damage caused by extractive industries, such as deforestation, water pollution, and biodiversity loss, has long-term consequences for the well-being of both present and future generations. Section 6. Beyond Survival, Constructing Alternative Development. Amidst the challenges posed by territorial conflicts and extractive industries, a powerful movement for alternative development models is gaining momentum in Colombia. Led by indigenous and Afro-Colombian communities, social movements, and civil society organizations, this movement seeks to build a more just, equitable, and sustainable future that prioritizes the well-being of both people and the planet. It is a vision rooted in the principles of self-determination, cultural diversity, and living in harmony with nature. At the heart of this movement lies a rejection of the dominant development paradigm that prioritizes economic growth at all costs. Instead, it embraces a more holistic approach that recognizes the interconnectedness of social, environmental, and economic well-being. It emphasizes the importance of local knowledge systems, community-based decision-making, and the revitalization of traditional practices that have sustained communities for generations. One of the key pillars of alternative development is the promotion of food sovereignty, which emphasizes the right of communities to define their own food and agricultural systems. This includes supporting small-scale farmers, promoting agroecological practices, and resisting the expansion of industrial agriculture that often leads to land concentration, deforestation, and the use of harmful pesticides. By reclaiming control over their food systems, communities can enhance their food security, preserve their cultural heritage, and protect the environment. Another crucial aspect is the development of sustainable economic alternatives that provide livelihoods while preserving the environment and respecting cultural values. This includes promoting ecotourism, community-based forestry, and the production of sustainable crafts and products. By creating economic opportunities that are rooted in their territories and cultural heritage, communities can break free from dependence on extractive industries and build more resilient and equitable local economies. Section 7, International Dynamics, Global Capitalism, and Local Realities. Colombia's territorial conflicts cannot be understood in isolation from the broader forces of globalization and the dynamics of global capitalism. The interconnectedness of the global economy means that decisions made in distant boardrooms and financial centers can have profound impacts on the lives of communities thousands of miles away. Understanding these global-local linkages is crucial for addressing the root causes of conflict and building a more just and sustainable future. The rise of globalized trade and investment has led to an increased demand for natural resources, particularly from industrialized nations seeking to fuel their economies and meet the needs of their growing populations. This has created a surge in demand for commodities such as oil, minerals, and agricultural products, often sourced from countries like Colombia, which are rich in natural resources but face challenges with poverty, inequality, and weak governance. The influx of foreign investment and the expansion of extractive industries can bring short-term economic benefits to some sectors of society. However, it often comes at a high cost to local communities who may face displacement, environmental degradation, and the erosion of their livelihoods and cultural heritage. Moreover, the benefits of this economic growth are often unequally distributed, exacerbating existing inequalities and creating new social tensions. The global financial system, with its focus on maximizing profits and shareholder value, often prioritizes the interests of multinational corporations and investors over the well-being of local communities and the environment. This can create pressure on governments to weaken environmental regulations, provide tax breaks and incentives to attract foreign investment, and prioritize the interests of powerful economic actors over the needs of their citizens. Addressing these global-local dynamics requires a multifaceted approach that includes promoting more equitable trade policies, holding multinational corporations accountable for their social and environmental impacts, and strengthening the capacity of local communities to participate in decision-making processes that affect their lives. It also requires challenging the dominant narrative that economic growth is the sole measure of progress and promoting alternative development models that prioritize social justice, environmental sustainability, and the well-being of all. In peace. Section 9 Conclusion. Seeds of Hope in the Face of Adversity. Colombia's journey towards peace and reconciliation is fraught with challenges, but amid the complexities of its territorial conflicts, seeds of hope are being sown. The resilience of indigenous and Afro-Colombian communities, the tireless work of social movements and civil society organizations, and the growing recognition of the urgent need for alternative development models offer glimmers of hope for a more just and sustainable future. While the scars of conflict run deep and the challenges ahead are daunting, the unwavering spirit of those working to build a more peaceful and equitable Colombia cannot be underestimated. Their commitment to social justice, environmental sustainability, and the recognition of their cultural and territorial rights inspires hope that a more just and peaceful future is within reach. The international community has a crucial role to play in supporting Colombia's peace process and addressing the root causes of conflict. This includes providing financial and technical assistance for peace-building initiatives, promoting responsible business practices, and holding perpetrators of human rights abuses accountable. By working in solidarity with the Colombian people, the international community can contribute to creating a more just and peaceful world for all. As Colombia continues its journey towards peace, it is essential to remember that true and lasting peace requires more than just the absence of war. It requires addressing the underlying inequalities, injustices, and historical grievances that have fueled conflict for far too long. It requires recognizing the inherent dignity and rights of all Colombians, regardless of their ethnicity, social background, or where they live. And it requires building a future where all Colombians can live in peace, security, and with hope for a brighter tomorrow.